So, KSI versus Logan Paul, whatever they said. The biggest event in internet history, whatever you want to call it. These two boxers, don't know why I phrased it that way. These two YouTubers attempting to be boxers.
That's better.
Duking it out on a Saturday. A lot of people watched it, a lot of people didn't. I watched it, so I want to run through it a little bit. I've been watching boxing casually, sort of, for probably the last 5 years. Out here in California and in Vegas, boxing's pretty popular. Lots of Mayweather before he retired and all that. I'm from Philadelphia, where it wasn't super popular while I was growing up, which is ironic because it's where some legends, Sonny Liston, Joe Frazier are from, and the Rocky movie, actually. Anyways, let's get this out of the way. I bought the fight. It was $10 instead of like 70, 80 bucks like the Mayweather fights were. So like cost of a pack of these pens, which it's not really breaking the bank. I also bet on the fight, which I'm not going to say who I bet on because it doesn't really matter at this point. Spoiler alert, I ended in a draw, so anybody that bet on Logan Paul or KSI lost.
Oh, I guess I'm a loser. A loser.
So there were 5 months worth of lead up to this fight. Diss tracks, tweets, videos, personal encounters. You can follow all the backstory of that. I'm not here to give history lessons. Let's just go through the fight. The undercard, there's a whole bunch of boxers there, all kinds of YouTubers all afternoon. Until, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch any of them. Recognized a couple of names, but didn't interest me enough. I tuned in when Jake Paul versus DJI started, which are both younger brothers of Logan Paul and KSI respectively. Honestly, like, from the beginning, this one seemed pretty lopsided before the fight. I mean, it didn't seem exactly the fairest fight, but honestly it was better than expected. Jake Paul's walk-in was pretty good. Came in all white with the Bane mask, the whole deal. I thought that was kind of the best walk-in of the night. Logan Paul and KSI ended up having pretty good outfits and stuff as well, but Jake Paul kind of was like the first big outfit of the night. Stole the show a little bit for a minute or two. DJI, he wasn't wearing trunks, he wasn't wearing shorts here. There was kind of a skirt. I don't know what that's called. Like I said, I'm not an expert in boxing. It looked cool, except for it had these like sequins that were white and red, and so it just looked like some of the sequins would flip up and flip down. It just, honestly, it looked like his little skirt was falling apart. Design choice to learn from for next time, DJI. It was a pretty entertaining fight, to be honest. Most people thought that Jake would knock him out pretty early. Midway through the 5th round, DJI's corners threw in the towel, which was a little surprising. You wouldn't think in just a YouTube celebrity boxing match that someone's throwing in the towel. Honestly, I thought that they probably did it to save DJI some humiliation instead of, getting knocked out on his back. Like I said, the fight was better than expected, but it definitely was not in DJI's favor, and I think he would have got knocked out in the next round or so. Although, DJI put up a great fight. You saw there was tons of pictures. Jake Paul's nose, pretty bloody. Did a great job, I thought, for what people expected him to do. Except at the end, his tweet I thought was a little weak. Just want to congratulate Jake Paul on the win. Hope you can be a man and honor the rematch. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. It didn't seem like they had a rematch scheduled. I know that the other two brothers signed a 2-fight deal. Maybe the younger brothers signed that as well, but I don't think Jake Paul is any less of a man if he says no to a rematch if he didn't have anything more to prove.
I hope he learned a lesson about the things that he said.
Didn't give DJI a whole lot of credit, but made sure to sell his new merch line.
I'm also excited to announce that I'm launching a clothing line.
Which, if you know anything about the Paul brothers, however you feel about them, they are masters at plugging their merch.
Buy that merch.
Merch machines. I thought Jake Paul had a great day, great showing, until he called out Chris Brown at the end of the fight. You heard me correctly on that one.
I want to call someone out. Chris Brown.
Wait, what?
Whoa. Chris Brown.
This came out of left field. I don't really know what to say here, honestly, but I did see one amazing tweet. Props to that guy. Love Lil Dicky jokes. That was a pretty good one. All right, moving on to the main event, Logan Paul versus KSI. The weigh-in surprised me. I didn't realize they would be so close in weight. Logan definitely is a lot leaner, and being the same weight, that would give him a lot more muscle. It packs a punch, but it also tires you out. A pretty well-known thing in boxing. KSI, I think, definitely had an experience advantage. I mean, even if it was only one fight with Joe Weller, I think that makes a big difference in the ring once you hop in there. And I really hate the saying, but
everyone has a plan
until they get hit in the face.
So then Logan Paul came out. Apparently Logan Paul wanted to play KSI's diss track, and they wouldn't let him, which is pretty funny. Playing some mind games even right before the fight. KSI had a pretty good walkout as well. I wonder how much he had to pay Badu Jack to walk out with him. I thought that somebody along the way, I mean, Badu Jack's pretty big. Those little rappers, Jake Paul, I mean, okay, honestly, they're nobodies. But I thought that one of those 4 guys would walk out with some big celebrity or rapper or whatever, the way that Mayweather kind of set the tone with walking out with Bieber and Lil Wayne and all that. Kind of funny how KSI stood in the hallway for a little while, you know, waiting for his beat to drop. It was a little bit awkward, and I don't know if he thought his mask was scary, but it was not. On to the fight. Logan started out really strong. A lot of taunting going on from both sides, but pretty evident from Logan that he thought KSI was a fish out of water in there. KSI was holding back for sure. It reminded me of what Mayweather used to do a lot in his fights, where he would just kind of let his opponents gain some confidence early on, tire themselves out, and then go to work. Logan really had him, though, in the first couple of rounds. He took it to him. At the end of the second round, KSI took a shot after the bell.
That reach advantage is just so important. And the boys, a punch after the bell.
In boxing, there's not really a great way to penalize people for doing stuff like that, so you can get away with a whole lot. It takes kind of a lot for them to end a fight on something like that. Jake Paul jumped out onto the canvas like a moron, like he was actually going to do something. That was a little bit ridiculous. So midway through the fight, you could tell KSI was getting pretty angry, and that Logan was getting pretty tired. The third and fourth rounds were a lot more even than the first 2, and even in the 5th round, Logan was getting some big punches in. He had some nice combos, and for a second it looked like he had it, but from then on, you know, KSI kind of stepped up. That's where the experience to kind of conserve energy until those later rounds really came in for KSI. 6th round came, and I'm sure Logan wants to forget about this one because it was KSI all the way. He was all over Logan. Logan looked like a newborn deer, you know, barely able to stand. But he made it to the end, and I think if he went down, it would have been pretty obvious and pretty easy to decide who won this one. KSI had surprising stamina, and it paid off big time. So it took a while for the judges to deliberate, come to their decision, that whole thing, and it ended up being not really much of a decision at all, but a majority draw, which means out of 3 judges, 1 chose KSI, 1 chose a draw, and the last one chose a draw. Majority say draw, so it's called a majority draw. And if that outcome, you know, if the reasoning sounds ridiculous to you, it's because it is. I don't really need to sit here and debate boxing, scoring rules, and all that, but if I see 2 guys smashing their faces in, I kind of would like to see who wins. It's kind of ridiculous that a sport that seems so black and white can end with such a gray ending. I mean, this fight seemed pretty genuine all the way to the final bell, and after that, it seemed pretty rigged. Credit to both fighters. They faked a pretty good reaction in unison. It's public knowledge, but these guys signed a 2-fight contract back in May. And what a perfect ending to the first fight, right? Instead of going 1-1 and having to decide, should we do a 3rd fight as a tiebreaker, that whole thing, let's just end it in a draw and make it a part 1, part 2. Amazing scam, but an amazing business plan, an amazing business decision. So if you like the first 5 months of this saga, buckle up because here comes another 5. You can't really knock them, though. Their entire life is devoted to entertaining their fans. I think it, honestly, for their own promotion and everything of the next one, I think it ended perfectly for them, however you wanted this fight to turn out. So at the end of the day, was this whole 5-month build-up to this big fight in London annoying? Yes. Was the fight entertaining? Yes. Am I glad that I bought the fight? Yeah. I mean, it sucked up a Saturday, but there are worse things that I can do with my time. Was the fight the biggest event in internet history? No. Am I going to watch the second fight? Oh yeah. You know what? The next one's in LA. I might even go. Guys, thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Go ahead and give this video a like if you're excited about KSI versus Logan Part 2. And thanks for watching.